Now let's turn our attention back to Callahan's concern about the doctor-patient relationship and his concern that allowing active euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide will give doctors the opportunity to essentially take advantage of their patients. Again, I think that a lot of you might look at this idea with some suspicion that you may believe that, doctors are good-hearted and that they generally have the patient's well-being at heart. And that, a doctor generally would not actively euthanize a patient if that patient didn't explicitly request it, or that a doctor would not provide lethal medication to a patient, again, if that patient did not request it. However, studies have shown that this does occur, particularly in the Netherlands, where active euthanasia is legal. Callahan cites some research which showed that out of 129,000 deaths, approximately 3,300 of those were due to euthanasia, active euthanasia. However, 1,000 cases, 1,000 of those 3,300 cases of active euthanasia were, according to this research, cases of non-voluntary euthanasia. That is, cases where the patient did not explicitly request to be euthanized, and nonetheless, they were euthanized. Now, in the Netherlands, there are laws and regulations in place to prevent this from happening. There are regulations in place that are supposed to guarantee that a patient is only euthanized when they wish to be euthanized with their consent. But obviously, that's not what has been happening. And there are patients that are being euthanized without their explicit permission. That's against the law, but it is occurring. And what Callahan is saying is that, for instance, even though we may set up laws and regulations for PAS and active euthanasia in our country, due to the confidentiality of the doctor-patient relationship, there will be no way to ensure that these laws and regulations are being respected by the doctors. Ultimately, if a doctor believes that a patient would be better off dead, there's no way to guarantee that that doctor just won't somehow cause the death of their patient, even if that patient does not explicitly request that. So again, the experience in the Netherlands, according to Callahan, provides some evidence that doctors will take unfair advantage of the power they have over their patients, and patients will not be self-determining their own deaths in every case. In approximately 1/3 of the cases, patients will be influenced or persuaded to die, and that is just simply unacceptable. So this experience in the Netherlands we should take to heart, because it could happen here in the United States if we go so far as to permit active euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide across the nation.